Here we are. Grand rising to you all. I'm standing today. Um, anyway, today's a very special day because you woke up today. Philly, hello. Philly, by the way, your sister was in here a couple days ago, and I'm trying to figure out a cool gift to give y'all because you've been super supportive, and your sister told me that you bought her a report, just like as a gift. And so I'm trying to figure out a gift to give you guys. I'm still figuring it out, but I don't want you or your sister to, primarily your sister, because she's the one I'm talking to. I don't want your sister to think I forgot. I didn't forget. I'm just trying to figure out, I'm doing my reflector thing. I'm trying to figure out like what gift I want to give you guys. So yeah, it just feels right. I have these little intuitions and with certain people, and yeah, I was invited. Nova, hello. How's everyone doing today? It's January 3rd. Let me know if you know someone that has already failed their New Year's resolutions. Amanda, good morning. Um, if you know someone that's already failed their New Year's resolutions, put it in the chat. I know several people. Me, okay? That's great. That's honest. And be honest. If you failed your New Year's resolution already, um, say so. Say so. Say something. Me, Philly. Okay. Did you guys watch my videos, right? I haven't asked anyone. There's oh, okay, yeah, yeah. I think I asked it on Facebook yesterday. I'm actually gonna go look and see if anyone responded. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people failing their New Year's resolutions. And quite simply, it's just the wrong time to be setting New Year's resolutions. We're right in the middle of Gate 38, which is about preserving your individuality by really like opposing something. So this whole New Year's thing right now is like most people's goals are really about the thing that they're fighting against rather than the thing that they are actually wanting. So I've won in some but lost in some. Yeah, me, I said I wouldn't crash out. I crashed out 3 hours into the new year. Yep. I didn't judge myself though. Awesome. You ought not to. And the reason you ought not to is because quite simply, like I said, the transit for January 1st, which is when New Year's is not great for setting New Year's resolutions. Right, okay, so we got New Year's season is Aries season. We all know that with a dude in a blanket. Alicia says, dang it. David says, LOL. Yeah, a lot of people are going to fail their New Year's resolutions because, again, their goals are flavored by this like collective construct of like, hey, you have to be better. But the actual energy of January 1st is like, hey, who are you as an individual? What do you oppose? This is what Gate 38 is about. And this is what this week is about. It's about finding out what's worth fighting for, not setting a goal and having a whole like new year, new me fiasco with yourself. It's very much so different than that. And so, you know, it's we have January 1st to January 21st to actually end 2024, right? Like 2024 never even has a chance to end. You have the twinkle time between Christmas and New Year's to end 2024, but you don't really even get to end it. Me feeling because I'm a reflector and change my mind every day. Well, you know, I change my mind every day too. As a reflector, there's definitely a lot of routines that can be super supportive of accomplishing resolutions and goals and stuff like that. But again, you're not going to learn it from like a generator or somebody that's not a reflector. For me, one of my hacks for the New Year's and resolutions is focusing less on resolutions and more on routines. Like I have a tea routine, right? This is my tea set, okay? And every day I wake up, I drink this, I do sensory design, I build my relationship with sensation in my body. That's my human design practice. Right? I'm not out here like waking up and being like going directly to my book and being starting to study human design. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start to ground myself in the sensations of my body. And this is something that is a very simple routine, but a lot of people do not they don't know how to uh, explore, or they've never explored. And so in the times when it's kind of challenging in the exploration, they give up. And this is the exact thing that we're helping people with, me and my partner Pasha, is to help people build a sensation or a relationship with effort, with tolerance, with trying hard and like putting forth effort. Because a lot of people they do something and they give it a lot of effort and it's challenging and then they give up because they think life is supposed to be easy because we've been sold this hacks and life hacks and blah blah blah, like quick fixes, band-aids. Okay, Western medicine is very much like that. Western culture is very much like that, and unfortunately that just doesn't last. And so as a reflector, even though my mind and my circuitry changes from day to day, there are still things that my body can engage in every day that have nothing to do with my circuitry and my design, or rather they are beneficial regardless of my circuitry. So do I sit in that sensation or try to focus in on something else? Tally, just watch what happens, yo. Like, is it hard to sit in the sensation? Do you start focusing on something else? Do you try to run away from it? Do you try and run towards it and prove something? Like, it's not, this is the thing. The mind thinks in words and pictures. What should I do? What's the right thing to do? The body goes, that feels, ugh, ugh. Ooh, that feels, It's like, it almost like can't, it almost like can't think sensation. You can't really think about, I mean, you can explain a haircut to someone, right? But that's different than you actually sitting in a barber shop or a salon and getting your haircut. It's the thing. It's the same. It's like, hey, explain to me a haircut versus go get a haircut from here to here. And everything that I do and that me and Pasha do is trying to help people get out of here because we are very much so calcified and stuck in this kind of like head in ajna situation. Um, yeah, I've been focusing on values and then from there listening to my body day by day, but grounding the values, it's been helpful. Exactly. It's because like you guys, we are designed from babyhood to hand over sensation and thinking to the body. It's only once we're adults that we learn how to use this to make other people happy. And that's not a bad thing, right? It's important to know how to do that. This is how we contextualize the external authority, is what mom and dad wants versus just what I want. Like toddlers are tyrants because they don't have a sense of external authority yet. As they get older, you either break them or you create healthy discernment within them, right? You either condition them to be a certain way so that, you can show up to the playground and be like, yeah, my kid listens to me all the time, but really they're just afraid of you. Or you can teach them discernment, teach them how to pick battles, teach them how to be themselves, or give them opportunities to be themselves. And the only way you're going to do that is if you have that within yourself. And the only way you have that within yourself is if you let go of trying to like, oh, stop the overthinking, stop the anxiety. You don't want to stop anything. You just want to become more aware of it. And then you want to become more aware of what this feels like. The breastfeeding mechanic, the sucking energy down into your body, handing decisions over to the body. Slowing down, yes, is key. And sometimes it's time to speed up. But the difference between slowing down just because someone tells you to slow down and slowing down because your inner authority is like, hey, we need to slow down. There's a very different thing there. Funny, I slowed down as I'm talking about it. Reflector life. I'm standing this time, guys. What do you think about that? as a reflector, one of the things that I do with my routines as well, for any other reflectors out there, is I will set something that is like solid. Like every day I'm waking up at 7 a.m. I'm gonna go RPM. That's been my thing for the last like 12 years, has been RPM. I wake up, I rise, I pee, I meditate for 5 minutes minimum. I've been meditating for 5 minutes minimum every day for the past like 12 years. I've skipped a couple days. I'll be honest. I've skipped a couple days, but it feels like every day, because even on the days that I don't do the RPM right in the morning, I do it later in the afternoon or right before bed. You know, a lot of the times I feel like I'm walking on a path, and if I like mess up, like the New Year's resolution, if you messed up your New Year's resolution, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it right now. Save it for later, actually. Whatever New Year's resolution you set, write it down on a piece of paper. And then at the top of that piece of paper, write January 21st, Gate 41, the Rave New Year. This is in reference to the Human Design New Year. And essentially what it is it's a time of year that is much better suited for new beginnings. 4841 is called contraction or decrease, which is essentially the limitation of resources that enhances growth potential. By the way, how is the audio? Is anyone in my my live chat over here? I see someone over here on Twitch. That might just be a bot. We'll see. Anyway, hopefully it's not like blowing out the speakers, but we'll see. This is all experimenting. I am a 3-5 after all, so this is great. Mine is to take care of my body more. I'm waiting for my ins card to come. Right. So again, whatever goals and resolutions you have, just write them down. And for until January 21st hits, instead of like trying to attack your goals, like analyze them. Use this opportunity to think about them and be melancholy about it. Like, what happens? What's the consequence of not taking care of your body? Jordy, thank you very much. Is it like too loud? Is it like good volume? Is it not loud enough? Based off of the levels that I'm seeing, it might be like just a smidgen too loud. Let me know, Jordy. I appreciate the feedback. So I'm doing my part, but I can go further after I go to the doc. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you got an appointment. Sounds fine over here. Yeah, TikTok will sound normal because it's just a phone. It's real easy. I recognize that part of scaling things up, like on YouTube and in the archive, like this is also streaming live, but when I move over here, the camera's gonna follow me, which is kind of tight. Not here on TikTok, but on all the other platforms that I'm streaming on. Abby, thank you for sharing the live, love. Appreciate you. Excited for class today? By the way, for anyone that is, Jordy, it's perfect. Awesome. Thank you, Jordy. Appreciate you. Anyone that is interested in like all the stuff that I talk about, by the way, it's being presented to the world right now as we speak through a course called Sensory Design. And sensory design is something that me and my partner Pasha are teaching, which someone asked, by the way, what design Pasha is. He's a 1-3 manifesting generator, emotional authority on the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And so if anyone wants to like do this work with me, come join the archive. It's a private membership. It's $37 a month. This is the early entry. This is like where I want to get like all of like my organic following in before we start running ads to it and just absolutely blowing this up. But I want to get whoever is here like in at like a lower rate because the price is going to go up. And if you get in right now, your price, whatever price you lock in, that'll be the price forever. So excited for class. Yes, I always look forward to Fridays. Ha ha ha. Yes. Neutrino design app. I'm loving it. Did you design it? I did not, but I know the developer, and we are very close. He's a 3-5 as well. We're very energetically close and aligned, and so he listens to a lot of the suggestions I have. He also just listens as a good developer ought to, and yeah, he's brilliant and very sweet and a family man. So yeah, Neutrino Design is the best app. Did I hear Phoenix? You did, my friend. My business partner Pasha is on the cross of the sleeping phoenix. Can you play any instrument? Yeah, do you guys want to hear me play an instrument real quick? My flute is a little moldy, but here we go. Check this out. For the people on Riverside, this is going to be awesome. People on YouTube, you're going to love this. Yep, that's me playing an instrument. Which, guys, I had a really great experience last night with one of my closest brothers, where we were making music. Let me turn the reverb off again. We were making music here in the bus, and I think I'm gonna bring Oasis Hour back. I think I'm gonna bring like live sound healings and stuff back, and I'll probably just like play some instruments here as well. Moldy flute. Why? I feel like I live in the jungle, so like everything gets moldy, dude. It's really it's so wet here in Maui. I live in Maui, and it's so wet here, and it just gets very moldy. So, but anyway, if you guys appreciate this live, do me a favor, like it. If you're not following me, please follow me. I guarantee, like I promise, I'm gonna give you guys the coolest shit, and I'm gonna educate you and make it entertaining at the same time. But I'm an educator in the sense that like I'm not trying to teach you things. I'm trying to get you to like think for yourself. And for anyone that's been following me, you know, vouch for me or blow up the likes or share the live, because you guys know what I'm talking about. What is there? A sword? That's a sword. Yeah. That's I mean, it's a Lego sword. I just got these hooks, guys. Can I geek out on these hooks? I just got these hooks that are magnetic that can go on all of the rivets on the ceiling of my bus, which is great because I remember I was having like a panic attack. When I first bought this bus, I was installing the floors and I was having a panic attack because of how hard it was going to be to remove the ceiling and remove the walls. It's not real, it's made of Legos. But I do have real swords. I do have real swords. Well, I guess they're machetes. I don't really have any like fantasy swords. I got a baby and I got a toddler and a kid on the way, so I haven't had enough money to buy like a real sword. I do have lightsabers though. I do have lightsabers, this is probably one of my my greatest routines. Speaking of routines, because again, 2025, January 21st, figure out what routines you want to establish that are going to support the values and the lifestyle that you want to live. No more of this like resolution, new year, new me. You're still you. Routines are going to help you strip away everything that's not you. This is one of my greatest routines that supports my values of play, being a nerd, and also mechanics. So I was raised doing martial arts, and specifically Filipino stick fighting. And because of that martial arts, I'm a lot more confident than people just walking around the street, because I've been in sparring and fighting and stuff like that. And one of the routines that I could recommend and feel into it, because this is the gate of the fighter right now. We're in January 3rd. We're in the fifth line of the fighter, which is about, it's called alienation, really is what it is. The ambition and concentration to endure, the energy to stubbornly fight alone, or the alienation experienced as painful confinement that is by its very nature blinds one to the possibility that there are those at some point who may come to one's aid. The energy for stubbornness is so strong that it is difficult to recognize that there are others that can help in these times of struggle. So today, the energy is very much one of like, you have to be willing to stand alone. And that can show up as either I'm willing to stand alone, and if anyone wants to stand with me, I'll let them, or as principle, I'm standing alone and no one else is going to stand with me. I'm the only one that can fight this battle. It's that noble Robin Hood savior complex. That would be the detriment. The exaltation is like Gladiator, right? It's like, I'm going to fight the emperor, and I don't care if anyone fights him with me, because I'm gonna fight that because that's evil. That took you know something important from me, um, because of like greed and power and lust and all that stuff. And then the whole mob, all of Rome, rose up and supported the gladiator. I just saw Gladiator too, by the way. Let's see. Can you do it faster? I have a question about my chart. What's your question? Are you having a boy this time? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And yeah, baby number two is on the way, which I'm very excited about. I really, since I've been a father, one thing that I can say is that I've really matured a lot as a father, and my standards for the men in my life have gone up tremendously. Like, if you're a liar and I find out and you're not remorseful and you have no empathy around it, you're not going to acknowledge your impact, not my friend. If you're a cheater, not my friend. If you're the kind of man that is going to think that raising their voice is going to get you the things that you want, out of my life. And it used to be a point where it's like I couldn't handle it. Now it's like I won't tolerate it. Like, I can tolerate that all day. You can sit and scream at me and I'll sit there and I'll take it because I can tolerate it. But I won't tolerate it. I'm choosing not to. I have a standard of like, hey, look, a lot of that stuff, a lot of those tactics are just, they just don't work. And so anyway, what I was going to say, one of the routines that can help you build confidence, if your goal in 2025 is to build confidence, one of the routines I recommend that you start is find a boxing gym or jujitsu gym. Other martial arts work really well as well, but jujitsu gym is particularly helpful, especially for women, because it's very technical, and there's also the presence of like you get laid on by people. There's this, you have to build a relationship with this heavy thing on you, and you have to not panic and still be able to like maneuver your way into a winning position. Boxing is wonderful as well because it's also like very technical, but very much so about sensation. So if you want to have confidence, don't read affirmations. Like, go fight in a safe container. Go to a martial arts gym and start building a routine and a relationship there. What martial arts or extracurriculars would you suggest to put the little kids in to start learning early? Ooh, Abby. Okay, great question. I would say jujitsu or climbing. Like, rock climbing is great, develops the left and right hemispheres of the brain at the same time. So does martial arts. Jiu-jitsu is super cool because it's like very interactive and competitive. Like I was saying earlier, definitely this problem solving mechanism that I find fascinating with rock climbing and jiu-jitsu. They're very similar, except with jiu-jitsu, again, you have that added benefit of like, oh, now you got to deal with like a 150-pound dude or another 100-pound kid laying on you, and you have to not freak out and lose your cool. Because this is the thing about being a parent. At some point, being a parent is subjecting your children to stress in a safe way so that they can mature for themselves. That way you don't, that's the equivalent of like weaning the baby off the boob or weaning the kid off the boob. So I'm sorry, your strong mama will definitely be with it at the end. Oh, if only I met one, shake his hand, I will be happy and calm down. Thank you so much. This pregnancy has been a bit harder than the last, but worth it. Yeah. So, and one thing I would say too is like for any pregnant moms or just moms in general, like we have a lot of moms in the archive that are learning how to regulate their nervous system in like a very tangible, practical, and truly like a very rapid way. Like, there's techniques, and I'll do this when my toddler is like screaming and just throwing a tantrum. Instead of like looking at her or trying to figure it out or doing the whole gentle parenting thing, I shift my focus to myself and I go, okay, let me take all of this loud sound and thoughts about what I want my kid to do, and let me push it down into my body, and then let me suck all of my energy back into my core. That's the basis of sensory design, is it's pushing sensation down into your body and then also sucking all of my energy and consolidating my energy back in my core. For the moms, come join, because this is something that I think as a parent it's like the missing piece, that all like gentle parenting, not that I have anything against gentle parenting, it's better than beating your kid, but all of the other like parenting techniques and styles are band-aids And the real problem is that you don't know how to regulate your nervous system. Just because you're a mom or a dad doesn't mean your nervous system has had a chance to fully develop and mature so that you can actually tolerate the craziness that is raising children. It's a lot. I know. Thank you. I'm single mama and have 2-year-old boy who I'm really wanting to get into something. He's got a lot of energy. Yeah. So yeah, martial arts, I think, especially for young boys, but young girls as well. Like young girls, if you and the thing about supporting a child through martial arts is, it's going to be hard for them. As parents, I think one of the greatest lessons we can give to our children is that, hey, some things are worth fighting for. Some things are hard, and that's okay. Life is full of hard things. But when something is hard, it doesn't mean that it's too hard. It literally just means that you're not strong enough to do it yet. And so that ought to excite you and inspire you. The same way that, hey, if you're insecure, that's not a bad thing. It's only a bad thing if you let it be a bad thing. What I mean by that is if you're insecure, find ways to become secure, right? If you're bad at sales, find ways to become good at sales. Now, if we're to look at your human design, there's a lot of things that like you think matter that don't actually matter, right? And I can look at your human design and tell you exactly what those things are. But anyway, I just seen your videos for the first time today. I'm obsessed, but not in a weird way. That's okay if you're obsessed in a weird way, because I'm super weird. I'm very weird. And weird is a curious word, because weird is not like awkward or out of place. Weird is like in the process of transformation. If someone calls you weird, or back in the day when that word was first starting to be used, it was like, oh, that's the weirding area. That's the area that like is being developed right now. And so, yeah, I think weirdness is great. I think weirdness is unique. And I also think that weirdness is a lot more real than a lot of what people do, a lot of the things that people do. Because everyone is trying to present, especially with social media, they're trying to present this perfect thing, this reputation, and they spend more energy on presenting the solid image than just being solid themselves. And you can tell the difference because there's spiritual people on this app and these platforms that are sharing great information. But if you look at their body and you look at the way they move, there's holes. Their ribs are all flared out like this. They're not synced up. They might have the six pack, but inside their core is not stabilized. There's holes in their barrels. And you ought to be able to spot that out. If you train the right mechanisms of your body, again, like breastfeeding and pushing sensation into your body, effort, if you train that stuff, you develop the eyes to see. You can smell inauthenticity. You can smell an actor. And this is interesting because I saw a video about one of my favorite creators, actually. He's become one of my favorite creators. I forget his name, but he did this skit where he's like, why do I always fall for like mysterious guys? And he did like a skit with himself. And he was like, oh, it's because mysterious guys say less and women fill all the gaps with their fantasies. And I'm like, I want to teach the women how to notice when they're doing that so that they stop giving attention to these like mysterious fuckboys that always just mess girls over. Because it truly is. Fuckboys would not exist if women didn't fill in the Mad Libs blanks of these boys with their fantasies. Anyway, weird was definitely not the correct word, but now I'm more obsessed. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Wait, say that again. Wait, what did I say? How does Saturn return coincide with human design? So you have different returns: Saturn return, solar return, Uranus opposition. And if you use neutrino design, you can actually see the energy of that return. And what you're looking at is sort of like a composite. So for instance, if your Saturn return is, you're turning 28, you go on neutrino design and you're like for me, my Saturn return was everything fully defined. And so that doesn't mean my body graph is now everything is fully defined. What it means is like the energy of the Saturn return is showing up as a fully defined being. So for me, that's like I have my body, I have my body graph, which is a reflector, undefined centers, and then I have my Saturn return ghost or familiar. And I'm interacting with that thing as though it were like a relationship or a transit movement. So, what is the composite that forms between those two things? Where are the electromagnetics? What channels open up during the handful of years that the Saturn return is like active and happening? That's how it relates to human design. Oh, let me go back to Instagram. See, this is BJJ slash boxing portion is definitely sounding aligned with this gate 38 transit. Right. Right. Makes sense. And it's also like, one of the cool things about the transits leading up to, that are leading up to January 21st. So we have individual awareness and energy around what's worth fighting for, what's worth struggling for. Then we have, and actually let me just go to my graphics over here, which I have a really cool graphic that I'm gonna gatekeep this graphic as a means of being like, hey, come join the archive if you want this graphic, because not only is this graphic awesome, but it's like the archive is just incredible to have the kind of support and conversations that are happening there, and classwork is just great. It's super inexpensive right now. It's basically cheap. It's freaking $37 to get in there. So we have on Saturday we go into gate 54 for roughly 5 days or 6 days. 54 is about ambition, and gate 53, which is where the earth is, that's about new beginnings. On Friday the 10th, we go into the gate of mystery, which is about understanding like what inspirations are worth exploring, what things inspire me in contrast with what things inspire other people. Then on the 15th, we go into gate 60, which is about the acceptance of your limitations and the pressure to overcome your limitations, provided with the grounding force of stimulation, which in this instance is very much so like sensation. What's stimulating? What's stimulating your body versus what's stimulating your mind? And then on the 21st, we go into gate 41, which is the contraction, which is the ability to make the most out of a situation with limited resources. And this is also, gate 41 is the start stop codon for our genetics sequences and strands, which is amazing. Y'all, I joined on the weekends too. Yeah. What's one lesson from last year that you're bringing into this year? Um, there's two of them, and they're both quotes. The first one is from Jim Rohn, and it's, I'll take care of me for you if you'll take care of you for me. This is a huge lesson because I realize that I have spent a lot of my life trying to take care of other people and their needs, making sure they're fed and passionate about something and on the right track and disciplined. And I did that because I was hoping for them to take care of me. And I was very disappointed a lot. So I stopped taking care of other people and I started taking care of myself for other people. And it's invited very different kinds of people into my life. These are people that are not asking for a homie hookup or a discount on my services. These are the type of people that are like, hey, is it cool if I pay you extra for this session? It's like, yeah, totally. Because the thing about abundance, and the biggest hack for abundance is manifestation is not about what you get, it's about what you give. So if you want to hack abundance, start giving things. And I don't mean like deplete yourself. I mean, get yourself to the point where you're overflowing with energy and emotion and happiness and joy and health, and then start to give that to people. That's manifestation. Now, the second thing is also from Jim Rohn, which is funny because I learned about Jim Rohn in how you say like network marketing and stuff. The other quote that he has that I really love is, you can either suffer the weight of discipline, which is ounces, or the weight of regret, which is tons. I'll say that again. You can either suffer the weight the you can either suffer the weight of discipline, which is ounces, or the weight of regret, which is tons. Put your mask on first before you can put one on your child. Airplanes, exactly. Yep. If you could describe your hopes for this year in one word, what would it be? So this is great actually because hope is my transference. In human design, if you look in your report, I have reports by the way on my website. If you want like a analysis of your body graph, uh, my transference is hope, meaning I don't do hope when I'm like, oh, I hope this happens and I hope that happens. For me personally, that's not very motivating. It feels like wishful thinking. Now, if you have hope as your motivation, you will probably feel different about the like hopeful thinking. I have guilt motivation, so for me, what do I feel guilty? What motivation do I have? What do I feel guilty to do in 2025? That's actually really motivating for me. And in 2025, the biggest guilt that I feel, and this is a healthy relationship with guilt I have, the biggest guilt I feel is making sure that everybody that joins the archive who's actually putting in effort feels like they're getting 100x of value in terms of what they've paid for, right? So right now, you can either pay $333 for the year or $37 a month. My guilt in this upcoming year is to make sure that everybody in the archive, again, that is putting forth effort, because there's going to be plenty of people that join that like never watch the videos or never like put it, or only watch the videos and don't actually integrate it into their lives. It doesn't work unless you actually integrate it into your lives. One of my primary guilts is to make that awesome and make sure people in there feel epic about their decision. Another point of guilt that I have is welcoming in this new baby in a good way. So there's projects around the house. Like today, actually, I've got to like attack a rat's nest because we found a rat's nest, um, and I've got to clean up the house. So I'm a reflector. I'm a 3-5 reflector. Somebody's singing the egg song. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I got a lot of chickens around here. They're very sweet little animals. Um, I love chickens. I'm a rooster in Chinese astrology, by the way, which there might be some Chinese astrology coming to neutrino design soon, which I'm excited about. Man, I love standing. Love the setup. Derek, you like that? Look, I got my sword. I got my flute up there. Yeah, I've one thing about a reflector is typically you can gauge the health of a reflector based off of their domain, right? Like I've had several domains in my life. My first domain was living with my parents, and some of my other first domains were having a bunk bed with my brother. We had a room together. Eventually, we had our actually no we had shared rooms all the way up until the point where I left for college. No, we did have our own rooms for a little bit when we were in like middle school and stuff. We had our own rooms. And one of the things that I would do as a reflector, just kind of instinctively, I would rearrange my room a lot. And this is kind of a parallel or a reflection of how my body graph during the transits will change a lot. Like, even though I have fully undefined centers, all 9 centers are undefined in my body graph, because of the transits and because of various other, how you say, hookups from transits and other people, I have a lot of different and changing definition. And so I would move around my space a lot, because I was attempting to express what was happening on the inside rather than just accepting what was happening on the inside. I was unaware of it back then. But my domain continued to expand when I went to college, and I got exposed to some other regular things, others aside from my parents. Then my domain expanded again when I got my van and I finally had like my own space that could drive anywhere. And now this is what you're seeing right here is the expansion of my domain in currently. And what's super cool is that in how you say, in 10 years, my domain expansion includes like hundreds of acres of land. And part of my motivation and my guilt is like, if I don't do that, one of my biggest guilts, guys, actually, I'll tell you right now, one of my biggest guilts, and this is probably my highest motivating factor, is when I was like waking up and learning about spirituality, there was like no one I could relate with. My teacher was a woman. She was older than me. Like, not like a lot older, but it's like the people she was teaching were like my mom's age, and she was like, 10 years younger than my mom. And so there was no one that was relatable in the spiritual world. And then a lot of the other teachers that I found were like, there's just a lot of ego. And I'm not saying I don't have ego. I feel like I'm saying like, hey, this is my ego. Uh, but one of my biggest guilts is like, yo, I have a lot of information and a lot of experience, guys, and if I don't share this with y'all, I will feel guilty about that. Can you talk more about guilt motivation? Yeah, so it's like it's the difference between guilt and hope is like, I hope this works out, and what do I need to do to make this work out? It's the masculine version, which is guilt, and the feminine version, which is hope. And it's very much so about actionable steps. Like for someone with hope motivation, don't, and similar with innocence motivation, it's like you don't really want to come in with like an agenda, other than like, oh, I hope this is what happens. But it's not like, all right, we're gonna do this and then this and then this and then this and then this. That's guilt motivation. For me, I have all kinds of like notes and little how you say, sequences and timelines and stuff like that. Earthwalker, you are asking some of the coolest questions. I appreciate you so much, my friend. Everyone, like the live, because Earthwalker has been asking some amazing questions. Alex, you've been asking amazing questions as well. Is there a part of yourself you've been avoiding that you're ready to face this year? Honestly, yeah, it's the part of me that is not wanting to confront specifically people in my life that I've been close to, that I feel like are out of alignment, because I feel like I don't want to ruffle feathers. I don't want my friends to think I'm like judgmental of them. But the reality is, it's like I have these judgments, and so that part of myself that doesn't want to expose my judgments because of fear of being abandoned by my friends. That's the part that I've already been facing it kind of in the end of this last year. I would say one of the things that I'm also ready to face is like the financial ceiling. I'm Romeo, brother. Thanks, you inspire me. Oh, okay. What's up, homie? Um, I didn't recognize the name. But the other point that I'm ready to face is like the financial ceiling, guys. I have, my business. I have a business. I have an LLC. Um, but I'm not like, and I pay taxes and everything. I'm not set up to scale though, and that's part of my that's part of the thing that I'm willing to face as well. Is I'm like, hey, I have a an opportunity to create a lot of value for people, but my ability to receive value is actually still very limited and small. Or rather, if someone were to give me $1 million right now, I don't know how I would receive it and not get absolutely destroyed by taxes, or putting it all on a crypto coin and losing it all. So it's like there's part of me that like wants to mature in the financial world, and one of the things that I'm actively attracting is I call them a financial war mage, right? You need to be good with numbers. You need to be a financial badass. You need to be bored. The reason why I say you need to be bored is because like I want someone who is like could be working with like billionaires and millionaires, or maybe is working with billionaires and millionaires in terms of finance, and you want to work with me because you see the value of what I'm doing, and you want to be, and like I'll still pay you and everything, but I want someone like at that level, can help me set up trusts, can help me protect the assets and all the hundreds of acres of land that I'm going to be acquiring. So, anywho, you're careful how you move. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Yeah, I've been like very mindful. Brandy, did you follow Jenna Zoe? So I've listened to some Jenna Zoe things. She's very like pop human design, I guess is what you would call it. That's the branch. Um, which is great because I love that people are learning human design. I have heard some things that uh in her sharing of stuff, that some things are not like always accurate or source material, which I'm like, everyone makes mistakes. That's that's fine. It's better that I think honestly that the information gets out than it's like it gets hoarded, because that's the, you know, you have Aramaic stuff, Aramaic energies which are very like calcified and hard and like gatekeeping and like no no no, and then you have Luciferian energy which is like give it to everyone, give it to everyone. And Jesus or Christ is like the middle way. The story of Jesus' crucifixion between a repentant sinner and an unrepentant sinner. This is like, and in Buddhism, it's the middle path, right? It's not being like hardened into reality or being full on Delulu. Um, yeah, I forget why I was talking about that. Jenna Zoe. She has a good podcast on judgment. Yeah, so it's like I, you know, again with Jenna Zoe, I haven't really listened to much of her stuff, but I also, and this is another thing too, is like I'm very mindful about who I listen to. Getting downloads, like I don't listen to podcasts when I'm driving. I'm not interested really in downloading more information. I'm interested in uploading my information. And I want to encourage everyone to be more interested in uploading your information, because the downloads are not going to help you reveal yourself. That's going to continue to cover you up with all these different conditionings. Oh, you should be juicing. Oh, you should be doing chelation. Oh, you should be doing these nervous system exercises. What is it that you want to upload? And then what do you have to become in order to be able to do that? If you want to manifest your strategy and authority and your signature in the world, you have to feel safe saying when everyone wants you to say You have to feel safe accepting an invitation that everybody in your life is like, that's not a good invitation for you. But your self projected authority or your spleen or your solar plexus is like, no, no, this is the right decision. You have to have courage, my friends. You have to have the courage to upload things. And Jenna Zoe, one thing I can say is that she's huge. She's huge. And so I respect the courage. And there probably have been people who come after her, very vindictive, and that are very much so like, oh, you said open center, but it was really an undefined center and you're spreading misinformation. And it's like, look, I get that. I totally get that. And I hope that Jenna is receptive enough to that to learn and grow as a creator. But nobody gets to where they want to go in a straight line. There's always twists and turns and stuff. What would I learn as a reflector being part of your community? Oh my God. So, a couple things. First thing that you would learn in the sensory design course, you would learn how to build a relationship with your undefined centers in a way that's not mental. It's not, is this somebody else's thoughts or is that my thoughts? It's like, push all those thoughts into the body. You'll learn how to physically decondition yourself, which for reflectors is the most important thing, is to be able to decondition yourself and the ability to see not from, oh, I have this gate and that gate and that gate, but hey, when this happens, there's a sensation in my body that feels like I'm being choked, or there's a sensation in my stomach that feels like I'm being stabbed, or there's a sensation or a tightness in my back that feels like I've been broken, or I can't stand up on my own. Because the mind thinks in pictures and videos and sentences and words and visuals. The body does this through sensation. So if your body doesn't know how to process sensation and stimulation, then you're SOL. Doesn't matter how much human design you learn, you're shit out of luck. So as a reflector, and this is actually why I started creating and working on physical approaches to human design, because learning human design was helping me, but there was a ceiling. I couldn't get past a certain ceiling. And then, of course, my freaking mad scientist best friend Pasha was like, hey, you got to check this stuff out. And a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, he started introducing me to the mechanics of sensation, the mechanics of breastfeeding, the mechanics of expansion and containing that expansion. And really what it is, guys, is it's aura, right? Your aura can get bigger. You can make yourself bigger. You can also make yourself really small. You can make yourself really small physically and energetically. And for a reflector to learn how to do that physically and energetically, I can make myself invisible, guys. I can make myself soft so that when I throw a punch, it's not telegraphed. It's just soft. So as a reflector, and not that I made this community for reflectors, but we have a lot of reflectors in there for this very reason, because there's not a lot of great books out there about reflectors. I'm sure there's awesome reflectors telling their stories and techniques, and oh, this is how I track the moon cycle. But like, what buttons do you press physically on your body so that your nervous system doesn't freak out every time it's like challenging for you? So that's what you learn as a reflector in the communities. You learn how to not freak out and just become a slave to everybody's desires of you. And we do this in like a very physical way. Marco is teaching us how to have a sensational time. Yeah, Mark, it's exactly. I'm teaching y'all how to learn how to like enjoy sensation, or rather, it's not about enjoying sensation. It's about accepting sensation, because there's two modes of thought. Like when something is overstimulating, this is how a lot of people say this. Some people are like, "Oh, that's too overstimulating," and it's like, is it too overstimulating, or are you overwhelmed? Do you blame your problems on, oh, that's too expensive, or do you accept I can't afford it? Serious question in your life. Is it that your partner is you know not listening and an asshole, or do you suck at communication? For somebody like me with guilt motivation, I'm always going to shoulder that responsibility. If something wrong happened, I fucked up. If something right happened, it was because God blessed me, or my team or my family blessed me. Yeah. Tamaris, yes. You're welcome. I hope you join. Legit. I hope everyone joins, just because like I hope everyone that is willing to put in the work joins. If you're not willing to put in the work, don't join. Um, if you're afraid of putting in the work but you want to put in the work, join though. But if you want a quick, like, easy fix to your problems, that's not what this is. Let's see, Romeo, what you got here? If you sat with your deepest regret, what would it teach you about who you are becoming? Um, Make decisions for myself. My deepest regret is the year that I got my van, I took my van to Colorado to visit a guy who genuinely was like a billionaire. And he asked me to live with him, and I didn't, because I knew my girlfriend at the time would be sad, and I knew my brother would be sad because he just had his baby. That was my biggest regret, because this guy had such a pure heart, and he ended up with the wrong people, which is kind of, I think, why he was asking for me to live with him, so that I could help him navigate out of these like shadowy relationships. Um, and the way it's informing me now is really, again, make decisions for myself, because I'm never just focused on myself as a reflector. I've never just focused on myself. I'm focusing on the environments. And so also, like, hey, build the tolerance to feel safe making decisions for myself and not just for everyone around me. My brother-in-law is a reflector, his wife is a manifester, and he lets her make the decisions. Yeah, that's the thing, is like there's this misconception that reflectors can't make decisions on their own, or they're weak, or they're easily influenceable, and it's not untrue. But in the exalted form of a reflector, like, it's not that I'm sensitive, it's that I'm perceptive. It's not that I let other people make decisions, it's just I'm not trying to control people. And so if, for instance, my partner makes a decision that I'm not interested in, I'll just tell her I'm not doing that one. I don't want to do that. And also, it's like, hey, do you really want me to do this? Yeah, okay, cool. I'll do it this one time, but don't get used to it. Looking to understand how to use my design in my purpose. Yes, and again, so this is the thing, everyone wants to like figure out what their purpose is, but your purpose is not like something that you have to figure out. It's something that you explore physically, similar to sensation and in your body. Like, your purpose is encoded and hidden in your body. And until you actually start to build a relationship with your body and surrender to your body and your form and the vehicle that you have, like, do this, okay? Put your hand out, crunch these fingers, pointer finger and ring finger, and then go pinky finger, middle finger. Do that as fast as you can. If you can't do that, smooth, and even mine is not smooth. If you can't do this smooth, don't worry about your purpose. Figure out and re-plug in, reintegrate the parts of your body that are disconnected. Right? If you can't look to the left, keep your eyes facing forward and take a big swallow. And if you can't feel pressure moving from your head down into your belly, stop trying to figure out what your purpose is and like practice that shit. It's like these are developmental issues. It's not that you don't have a purpose or you're not moving in the right direction or any of that stuff. It's that you didn't finish developing as a child. That's why there's so much inner child healing, fluffy bullshit spiritual work going on. People are like, oh, accept your inner child, all this stuff. And it's like, okay, but what does that actually mean? Is like, when did mom pull her boob out of your mouth and you weren't ready for it? And instead of like maturing and finding a way to receive nourishment for yourself, you kept blaming mom. Mom took the boob away from me. So now I'm going to go, smoke the ganja, and I'm going to go drink the booze, and I'm going to go like jump into bed with every woman I see, or jump on every pole that I see. You know what I mean? It's like these are just developmental things where at some point when we were kids, our development was halted by some, suffering, mean little fucker, whether it was your mom, your dad, a teacher, some kid at school who was like, you should stop singing. Like, you remember when it was cool, when people would be like, oh, who sings that song? Oh, you should let them sing it. I was going to say, fuck those kids. I'm a little indictive because it's like, as a kid, how many kids do you think heard that and they never sang again? And they're going to die never singing. This is very serious stuff. Bullying, very serious stuff. And it's because we're neglecting the mechanics of child development. As an adult, we have to be able to go back, and it's not like close your eyes, go into the dark room, find your inner child, talk to him, be nice. No, it's I mean, yeah, of course. It's funny, I got flagged for saying something. But anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, it's so funny. TikTok will interrupt me like that. Pattern interrupt. I'm okay with it. I think I was on a roll, though. I forget what I was talking about. Yeah, inner child healing work. There's a fluffy way to do it, which is what most people are doing, which is the like mentally and emotionally go back. And I'll admit, I used to teach this way of inner child healing work because I didn't know how to do it from a developmental point of view in a physical somatic way. And so there were a few years of my life where I was teaching and guiding people into inner healing. And again, it's not that that's not helpful. It's just not the solution. It's treating the symptom of like, I should be working on this versus the issue, which is my development was halted and I never got around to like doing it again. I never got around to actually developing it. So anyway, FYI, does that still work? Yeah, like I said, it still works, but it's not as effective as what we're doing now. It's also not as like mental backflippy, and you don't need like to give your power to someone else. Like, you come in the archive, you learn the techniques, and you have them in your body. So how would you recommend we learn the most about human design without overloading and conditioning so we can get where we aren't downloading instead of uploading? Cool question, Brandy. So one of the main things that I would say with human design, and I'm in it right now and I'm super excited about what I'm doing. So one of my recommendations, if you're serious about learning human design, is come join the archive and move through this sensory design live class with us. We have one today in about an hour. Move through this series with us because, and I haven't like announced this yet, but this I guess is the announcement. I'm going to be teaching a course in the archive on human design after sensory mechanics. And the reason I'm doing this is because it's more important to build a relationship with the body than it is to learn about your body graph. That being said, Prana, hello, my friend. That being said, the mental frameworks of human design are incredibly helpful for people that are actually grounded in their bodies. And so I would just say, come learn from me. The alternative is like buy this book because this is how I learned. I just bought this book and I just read it cover to cover like 4 or 5 times. And I just shoved this in my brain and memorized things. And again, that is one way to learn it. But I think if you want to actually be effective and see change in your life, come join the archive. And then probably I'm actually going to check because we have 9 classes that we're going to be teaching in the archive. We're on class 3 right now. So we're a third of the way through. And then we're going to, like I said, and then I'm going to teach a like actual human design class. Yeah, Brandy, thank you for the question. I think that was really helpful for a lot of people. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. There we go. Aaron, what is this podcast about? Pretty much like human design. And like we're on the cutting edge of human design. This is kind of what I'm feeling. Okay, I'm in the archive. Yay, awesome. What's the name of it? Wait, what's the name of what? The book? The book is called um, The Definitive Book of Human Design, The Science of Differentiation. This is probably regarded as like the most like the 101. There's a book that came before this that is like a little bit more meta and it's excellent, but that's the book that it's like if you want it like a college course on human design, get that book. The link is in my bio if you want to buy it off my Amazon shop and give me like a little affiliate bonus or whatever. But it's like a $50 book. So but it's a great book. Like I said, I learned all of the stuff I know about human design from this book. And yeah, let me log in here. But basically, probably some point around March, which is my birthday, I'm going to be teaching a human design course live in the archive. And so it's like we're going to spend, 1 whole hour on the manifestation center of the throat. We're going to spend a whole hour on the G center. We're going to spend an hour on each center, a bunch of time on circuitry. Like you could, by the end of that course, you'll understand this book. You'll have this book. And that would be not necessarily me teaching a college course so much as like I'm like how do I put it? Because I'm a 3-5. You know what I mean? I'm not a role model. This is like my underground digestion of practical human designing. It's not necessarily like Jovian archives. This is how to use human design properly. Bobby. Has anyone else seen that video? What app do you use? I use Neutrino Design. It's objectively the best app. It's not my app, but I am on the Neutrino Design team along with a brother named Prana here, who's an absolute gangster. He actually might be making some cameos if he's open to it in the human design course that I'm going to teach. But yeah, Neutrino Design that's the app that you want. That's 100% the best app. I didn't play Warzone as a kid, so now I play with you and hunt shadows in the form of digital pixels. Exactly. I love it. Yeah, so this live, by the way, is going to be ending in half an hour or so, and then we're going to be getting ready for this class. Which Prana, bro, I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting to reach out to you, Doug. I'm gonna make a note of it. I wonder, would it be amazing in the app to be able to tap on the channels and see info as well? You can do that. You can totally do that, Romeo. Although it's less about like you can't like just tap directly on the channels. You have to tap on the center, and then if you scroll to the bottom of that little pop-up, it'll show you like the gates that are a part of it. You could click that, and then if you scroll down a little more, you'll see the channels that it's a part of. But also, yeah, there's a web version that you can use that, yeah, you can just click on. You can just click on that. Up, tap, 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 tap. Yeah, there's a lot of like really cool features in neutrino design that are not in other apps, because of Prana. I will say that straight up, because Prana's been in it for like since he was like 16. So, and he's it's funny actually. There's like echoes of because Prana's a little bit older than me. Um, but he's a lot of the graphics that are floating around that you've seen about human design. Prana probably made them. Homie has done a lot for the human design community, um, in the shadows. Not that he's like hiding, but there's definitely a you know, there's not really like a desire to be like front and center. At least I don't feel that from him. Satisfaction, nothing better than a satisfied generator, because like you could talk to a satisfied generator and a not self generator, and the not self generator could be like a millionaire and have like the most beautiful wife and have like the craziest coolest lifestyle and blah blah blah, but if he doesn't know how to trust his gut, then he still won't be satisfied. And you can find a super simple man that is completely satisfied with life, and he knows how to follow his strategy and authority. Do you go based off of Watch's chart? Says exactly. My chart says I'm a manifester, but I resonate way more as a projector. Would you like to share a few words about fear motivation? So let me answer this indigo healer. I'm going to talk to you real quick. Your conditioning of how you think you operate the best is irrelevant in terms of how you actually operate. So what I mean by that is, if your chart says you're a manifester, but you identify more with a projector, that's because in some way you've still found a way to say, oh, something other than what I am is more valuable than what I actually am. So what I would do, because this is an experiment, is I would experiment with living life as a manifester, and then I would experiment with living life as a projector and see for yourself which is actually, and it's not what feels more natural, because again, based off your nervous system, you've probably normalized a lot of stuff that is not actually natural for you. The metric that you want to be looking at is, do I feel more peace living like a manifester, or do I feel more success living like a projector? Right? And the magic of this is that, it's not that your chart that's telling you this. This is your actual experience that is going to be telling you about this. Because again, when you look at your chart and you're like, oh, I don't resonate with this. Yeah, because you've normalized a bunch of stuff that's not actually who you are. And the only way to test it is to just see for yourself and experiment. And that's why the strategies are so wonderful, because they're so simple. For a month, inform, initiate. And then for another month, wait for invitations, and do that a handful of months back and forth. Be really like disciplined about it, right? When you're in your projector month, like don't do any initiating. When you're in your manifester months, do the initiating and see for yourself. Because again, what you're doing here is you're asking me if this is right, and I'm telling you that the only way that you're going to figure that out is if you run the experiment for yourself. So fear, real quick. Fear motivation, the opposite of fear is need. Fear has to do with like the future. Are we going to have enough food? Are we going to be safe on this journey? So that's the thing that's motivating for you, and it invites you into a place of sort of like planning and having motivation to put energy into how you say, exploring the fear as a means of avoiding danger. The opposite of that is need, which is, needs are like, do I have everything I need now? Do I have enough water now? It's much more rooted and grounded in the now. And so for somebody with fear motivation, all of the fears that you have about the future and anticipation, again, it's not like some kind of like mental disorder that you have. You're looking for your motivation. People will tell you like, well, do you have everything you need? Yes, I do. So why are you in this state of fear? Because that's my freaking motivation, dude. That's my freaking motivation, and it works vice versa too. So if you're in your need, like I said, if you're in the, well, I have everything I want, right, I have everything I need right now, so I shouldn't be worrying about the future, dude. If your motivation is fear, let yourself worry about the future. Let yourself be motivated to go beyond what you need in this moment. A close friend told me 8 years ago that I was a master manifester. I had no idea what that means. It could mean anything, honestly. Like, people say stuff. Like, someone could say like, "Oh, you're an exquisite reflector, Marco." That's their perception of me. If that doesn't feel true for me, I'm not going to accept it. That's it. Like, if something doesn't feel true for you, or you have a challenging time accepting it, what that means is that typically there is some mechanism when you receive information, you immediately have to accept or reject it. You don't have the ability to entertain something without convoluting your own identity with it. You might look back on that moment and be like, yeah, I want to be a master manifester, and that might be like an aspiration of yours. But it could also be like, I don't feel like a master manifester. Like, what are they talking about? Like, I have unrealized potential. I'm never gonna, like, it can be detrimental. You know what I mean? Can being sick slash food poisoning virus, which throws gut microbiome, be intuition? Very interesting. Intuition is rooted in the spleen. The spleen keeps you healthy. Anytime there are viruses or sicknesses or something like that, really what it means is that your spleen didn't do a good job of keeping that shit out of your body, and now it has to get it out of your body. That being said, again, it's not that your spleen isn't good. It's not that the virus is too strong. It's like your spleen isn't strong enough. Your splenic awareness of how to stay healthy and how to avoid holding on to things that are not good for you, that's not developed enough. And so when you get sick, that's an opportunity for your spleen to get stronger. It's the same thing as subjecting yourself to weight training or jujitsu or Muay Thai, getting punched in the face and all that stuff. Tim, let's go. Yeah, we're gonna have a good ass time. Or your undefined spleen is activated and needs to churn out all the junk held onto it. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, sicknesses and the immune systems, because when your immune system, has to go into like high gear to like process something or to like help you not die, it remembers how to do that. That's why vaccines, or the theory of vaccines, exist, because it's like, oh, hey, we'll give you a weakened version of this virus so that your body can build, defenses against this virus, so that when you actually get sick, then that way you're not going to get totally taken out, because your body knows how to create those already. It's already got the blueprint. And this is a how you say, an evolution of back in the day when, like, if you lived in a place where there were a bunch of snakes or bugs, right? And you would get bit a lot. As a kid, your body develops an immunity to those poisons, microdosing poison. It's the dose that makes the poison or not, or the medicine. Because it's like, water is obviously good, but if you drink too much of it, you will drown in your own body. So the spleen has to calibrate. And as someone with an undefined spleen, there have been times when I've definitely been going too fast, holding on to too many things, and it has kicked my butt. Let's say, I'm sorry, I manifest the same person as you, but a gay version. You want a version of me, but a gay version, so that you could be in a relationship with them? Is that what you're talking about? That's very flattering. Thank you. You're not gonna find that, because I'm the only me, but I hope you find someone that does for you what I'm doing for you right now, in a way that you both really enjoy. That's so funny. Um, got it. I will pray for you in that way, that you get that for yourself. Let's see, if someone who looks in need, they are clearly upset, and I see and feel them, they need assistance or a gentle word or two. Do I not ask if they're okay? Do I invite myself to show compassion? Oh, cool question. So that would, in that situation, it's more about gauging the receptivity of the person. Because if you see someone that's in need, as a projector, you don't want to just go up and start helping them. As a projector, if you see someone in need, one of the things that you might ask them, and although this is initiating, I also believe there's stuff beyond human design. There's life beyond human design, and situations where you have to like bend and skew the rules um, in order to mutate and experience something different. Like again, we're not here to like live our human designs perfectly. Otherwise, that's what we would be doing. We're here to have a goal, but then like land over here. Goal is to land here, but I ended up landing over here. Okay, great. Next time I'm gonna try and land here. Oh, I landed here next time. Oh, okay, great. Well, I landed here before and then here the time after, so now I can land here. Oh, great, I landed here. So like it's growth. And so what I would say is just gauge the receptivity. Sometimes people don't want help, right? And sometimes you don't have the energy to help. So the first person that you have to gauge the receptivity with, excuse me, is yourself. Hey, I can see that you need some help. I've got some energy right now to help you. Would you like some assistance? Right? If you don't have the energy to help them, again, this is where you decide like, are you going to synthesize energy and possibly, how you say, feel bitter towards this person? Maybe you help them and they don't say thank you and you're like, fuck you. It's like, that's on you, motherfucker. You didn't wait. Sorry for calling you motherfucker. I get excited about that kind of stuff because I'm so happy when I can catch myself in my own bullshit. That's why I'm that way. Yeah. So Chacha, don't just walk up and be like, "Babe, you look like you need some help." Yeah, exactly. Because people, and again, it's like people for projectors as well. There's an energetic thing that it's like when a projector sees me, they're seeing me deeper than other people see me. So it's very vulnerable when a projector comes up to you and initiates like, "Hey, you look like you need help," or "Can I help you?" You know, it's something more as like, "Hey, I see you're struggling with something. I feel like I have some energy that could be of assistance. Are you open to that?" And they might be like, "Yeah, I'd really love that. I'd appreciate that so much." Because some people are so locked into like the struggle of what they're doing, they don't know how to ask for help. Not everyone has been taught how to ask for help. Now, don't get suckered into being the person that teaches somebody how to ask for help. There's a good way to like show people how to ask for help, and there's a very like slave master kind of way to do it. And you don't want to be in the slave master way. And if you are, that's okay, but get the fuck out of it. I'm trying to help my kids not be conditioned. So, best thing you can do for your kids is to decondition yourself and then just accept them however they are. But show them what deconditioning looks like in your own body. It's not about your kids. And I know that for a mom that's probably hard to hear, but it's like, there's a reason why they say on the airplane when the masks drop down, put your mask on first and then put your kid's mask on. So yeah, you can't not condition your kids. Try as much to honor their uniqueness. Yes, that's a great point as well because it's like again, no one is going to do this perfectly, guys. And yet there's so much pressure and energy to do things perfectly. And I know why. I know why. It's because that's the ideal that we're striving for, but it's impossible. It's impossible. Love your sense of humor about projectors, Brandy. Appreciate you. My mom was an emotional projector that would have a lot of emotional breakdowns, is what she called them, or nervous breakdowns, is what she called them. When in actuality, it was just like, oh, these are just emotional waves. And because they, crying, especially for my parents' generation and maybe your parents' generation as well, or your generation if you are, in that generation, crying and emotions are inherently inconvenient because it's like if you're walking into a room and you see something that like doesn't sit well with you, your emotions are going to be like, hold on a second. We feel some type of way about it. We don't know how we feel yet, but if we're allowed to experience that feeling, we will know the truth. We will know what desire we have to interact with that thing. And it might be like, oh wow, that actually it made me feel something. I thought it was like, I'm not gonna like it, but the truth is like, that's the thing that I've been running from my whole life, so now I'm gonna run towards it. But you have to learn how to like push decisions away when you're in your emotions so that you can actually process and move through your emotions rather than being forced to make decisions within the emotional wave. Thank you for your thoughts on that honesty. Yeah, absolutely. Amisgibo. Jess, you're very welcome. Prana, thank you. I'm going into my second year of learning. Yeah, and it's like, you know, again, this like when you're learning guitar, there's a whole like there's several months of like sucking and your hands hurt and your fingers hurt. Like this is what passion is. Passion is derived from passio, which is suffering. If you're passionate about guitar, it means that you're willing to endure the pain of my fingers hurt. I feel dumb. I'm not making the sounds that I want. Like you're willing to endure that. That's what being passionate means. It doesn't mean like you're excited or you love something a lot. It means you're willing to endure the suffering. If there's passion in your relationship, it means you're like willing to endure the suffering, the drama, the BS of that relationship to be in that relationship. So asking yourself, what am I passionate about, has nothing to do with what lights you up, but what things are you willing to light yourself on fire for so that you can actually do. I found that my nephew is a 3-5 mental projector, soundboarding authority. Any advice I could pass on? Oh, just like ask them questions and like whatever channel they have. Like my buddy Nico, he has the 6217. He has the channel of details, preponderance of the small, which is all about like the logical expression of details. It's the anxiety to search for facts and then be able to express those facts in a very detailed manner. And so I will ask him about things and then specifically be like, what details stand out to you? Like, for instance, yesterday we were talking and he was like, bro, the Neutrino app, like, I looked at my Gates of Melancholy and it was like so on point. And I said, which one stood out most to you? Out of that, what detail like hit for you? And he goes, probably like the insignificance one. I said, okay, great, let's look at insignificance. What detail? And then I was exploring based off of his circuitry. This is the magic of a reflector, Tim. So this is something that you're going to be doing. 6447. Okay, great. So that's oppression and confusion. And so asking him questions about like, hey, what did you see happen? Or is there anything that you're confused about? Or have you made sense of anything that's happened? That channel specifically is very past oriented. Now, it doesn't mean that those are the only questions you ask them, right? Like you could ask them questions about the future, or hey, like the 6124 is like, hey, what's inspiring you right now? What do you feel like you have to think about anything, or what have you been thinking about things? Tamaris, I just saw your stripe come in. So yeah, hop in the archive. If you can complete your profile and stuff, do that. But if not, go to the events tab, click on the calendar event for today, and you'll see the link to get into that studio. And it starts at 11, so it'll be in like half an hour. I gotta go pee. Pardon me. Hi, Bounties. And we back, and we back, and we back. Man, I love this. I got this new camera. It's the Insta360 Link 2. This is not a promo for it. I don't have an affiliate code with them, although I might get one because I love this camera so much. For those of you that are watching on Riverside or Twitch or anywhere other than TikTok, the camera's following me around, which is awesome. Anyway, what were we talking about? Prana has good ideas. Yeah, pretty much always. Maybe ask him to draw what he sees in his mind. Ooh, that's super cool. I love that. Similar but totally different. Honor your own limitations and respect your kids' experience. That's one of the hardest things to do as a parent, I think, is to like, because I want my kid to have only the best experiences. But if I really think about it, I want my kid to have some shitty experiences too, because without shitty experiences, you never learn. Really, if you're always winning, you never learn. And learning is very important. I think as a parent, one of the things that I endeavor to is to give my child enough exposure in safe ways to dangerous things and stressful things so that they they actually, or she can actually develop the confidence to not succumb to her fears and danger, but to actually have courage when danger is present. Lol, my mom's self-projected and we just don't get each other. I want to understand her better. The wanting to understand her better is a great start. Definitely. Yeah, don't feel like you have to fix the kid's bad feelings. Yeah, that's and also it's like don't normalize feeling bad either, right? Like there's a middle way in this of like don't try and fix them, but then don't be like, "Hey, this is okay." To like, and that would be like normalizing abuse, right? Um like I always it's so funny cuz like there's always this like in shows I see it or in pop culture, it's like the mom and the dad are like get called into the principal's office and the principal's like, "Hey, Timmy punched Jimmy today and we have to talk about the consequences and blah blah blah." And it's like in the meeting the dad is like, "Jimmy, that's not a good thing to do. We don't hit kids." But then when everyone's gone and it's just the kid, it's like, "So where'd you hit him?" That kind of stuff. And I think that's awesome because that's like the dad's role in a lot of ways of like showing a child how to become a man or a woman and like stand up for themselves. And I think that it's the mother's responsibility with the dad supporting to take the child from a baby to a child or toddler, child, young adolescent. But at some point, that cultivation of internal safety and internal authority has to be introduced to the external authority, which they're constantly being introduced to the external authority. But the father is the one that teaches the children how to become adults by maturing internal authority in relation with external authority. Because the lessons from the father are like, look, I know this is something that goes against your inner authority, but for the sake of this or that or that, learn how to balance it. Because even if you betray your own internal authority, as long as you're not doing it habitually and unconsciously, it's not a problem. It becomes a problem when you're constantly betraying your internal authority so that something in the external authority can be satisfied. That's it. And this helps with shame too. Like if you feel shame because you're like, oh, I'm not following my strategy, I'm not following my authority, again, it's you probably don't have the neurological connections in your body to be able to feel safe doing it, so that makes sense. But your goal is not to you know change yourself. Your goal is to recognize just how you are right now, because that's you got to start from wherever you're at. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So true. I tell my kids nothing is a mistake. It's just an opportunity to learn something. Right. And if they're especially if they're third lines or sixth lines, they're here to make mistakes. Legit. Like again, that's why I say you either win or you learn. You never lose. Guys, we never the only time you lose is if you're playing a finite game. Finite game. My samurai sword fell because of the wind. Finite games and infinite games. This is a great book actually for anyone that's interested. This is an actual book. I learned about this book through a tea ceremony. I had one of my elders pouring me tea, and he talks about finite and infinite games. Infinite games are games that if you lose, you get to play again. Like a lot of video games are this way, right? If you die, you just respawn. Finite games are games where once you lose, you can't play, and in order for someone to win, other people have to lose. Survival of the fittest, in a way, is a finite game. Infinite games, though, can be played over and over and over again, and people don't have to lose for you to win. And this is a perspective challenge. So if you look in your life where you feel like you're losing, ask yourself, what are the rules of this game that I've set up for myself? How am I losing and who is winning? And then how can I turn this into an infinite game? How can I make this so that not only can I play again, but I can win without forcing other people to lose? Good thought experiment. So many child generators don't develop frustration tolerance and never learn to use frustration as guidance. Yes, this is so great because I get a lot of people, generators, asking me that, like, hey, what do I do? I feel stuck in life. I'm like, tolerate it. Learn how to be accepting of Hey, I went against my authority, I went against my strategy, and now I'm frustrated. Learn to accept the consequences, because if you never learn to accept the consequences, you'll never make any decisions. And then the consequences of that are brutal. They're ridiculously brutal. Again, you either suffer the weight of discipline, which is ounces, or regret, which is tons. Any wisdom nuggets for a 5-1 splenic projector on the cross of a people? If you have splenic authority, just come join the archive. That's all I'm saying. In terms of feeling safe and being safe, there's not a lot of difference between them, except are you actually safe or do you just feel safe? A lot of people feel safe when they're not actually safe. And also, a lot of people don't feel safe when they're actually very safe, right? Like in your room, you're safe physically from danger, but you might be attacking yourself. One of the things that you need to do with splenic authority is build a relationship with walking, running, and throwing and your nervous system and your immune system. It's about health, it's about vitality, wellness. It's about the awareness of what's going to mess you up, what's going to eat you, and what you can eat. So the reason I say join the archive is because this is literally the best place in my from my awareness to develop the neurology that is going to, and the nervous system and the mechanics that are necessary for you to feel safe declining an invitation that your spleen says no to, when whoever's inviting you really wants you to go, or accepting an invitation that your spleen is in agreement with, but everyone in your life doesn't want you to do it. If you don't feel safe making those hard decisions, it's just like what I was just talking about here. It's You can use your strategy and authority 99% of the time, but if one link breaks, that's usually the important link, right? When it's like, oh, I'm good at waiting for invitations and honoring my splenic authority, except for my relationship. Okay, well, great. What's the issue? You don't feel safe using your strategy and authority in your relationship. Okay, great. Where does that live in your body? You have to look. I can't go into your body. I can. I'm not going to though. It's much better for you to learn how to fish than for me to just give you fish. So come join the archive. And with that being said, guys, I'm going to start to wrap this live up here. This was awesome. I had a lot of tea, and last night I made a lot of music, so it was really good. I'm going to play a little flute ditty for you guys. Ah, man, Diddy totally just ruined the concept of Diddy. Um, I'm gonna play a little flute thing for y'all, and then I'm gonna close it out. And oh, Chacha, what you gotta say here? Last couple months, seeing Insta dads that post healthy communication with their little girls has been really helping me be more okay with my emotional authority. That's awesome. I love that. Helped also practicing riding the emotional waves and not trying to make decisions while in them. Yep. Oh, I hope we all win. The theme popped up today, yesterday. Yes, exactly. All of that, Chacha, and it's like you're practicing sensory design stuff. So that's again, it makes everything better. But anyway, I'm gonna play a little flute song for you guys, and then I'm gonna close this out, and then class is gonna be in half an hour, guys. So if you want to get into this class that I've been talking about, everything I've been talking about, it's like just come to class. It's so simple. You don't need to buy a book. You don't need to do any of that. Just sign up, get in the archive, get on the events tab, get in class. That's the best thing that I can offer you. That's what's happening next. So please enjoy this flute music. Link is in the bio. I almost ripped all these vines off because I was like, do something cool. Anyway, I love you guys. If this is your first time seeing me, don't forget to follow me. My website has a bunch of resources. I have reports. I have one-on-one sessions that I do. You can find the app Neutrino Designed there. There's a Discord for just kind of like open community that's free. And then there's the archive, which that's actually the first button. And if you want to work with me, come join the archive. It's much less expensive than like buying a session. Okay, and you'll not that you'll get more, but you'll be able to get more of it more often. Okay. So anyway, I love you guys. Come join the archive. I'll be live next Monday. I go live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. Keep notifications on for me because I'm probably going to start to do some more like music stuff. I used to call this Oasis Hour because my hand pan is made by Oasis Sound Sculpture. So I'm probably going to bring Oasis Hour back where I just go live for an hour and play like sound healing instruments, didgeridoo, hand pan, guitar, and all that stuff. Prana, I love you, my friend. I'll be reaching out soon. Okay, everyone. I'll see you in the archive or next week. Bye. Summer, yes, we must suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The difference is discipline weighs ounces while regret weighs tons. Yes. Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Summer. All right, guys, anyone here that's left on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, etc. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Like I just said, come join the archive if you want to be part of class. We're going to be starting in roughly 20 minutes. See you there. Be there or be scared. Love you. Bye.